Got Jackie Frantulli on the line from SIsAllGators.com. Join her right there for Florida football coverage. You can hear the obvious insight and knowledge into Florida football every time Jackie joins us. You know, Jackie, one of the keys to having an elite wide receiver core, and we'll include the tight end, is not that you just have a bunch of fast guys that can catch the ball, but that you've got complementary elements. You've got the deep threat. You've got the polished number one guy that runs the right routes, is the surest guy that can gain separation, that can catch the ball consistently. The tight end that they certainly have, that's just a mismatch down the seam in particular. The slot guy that's quick and agile and can find the soft spot in the zone on a 3rd and 3. The more gadgety kind of guy that you're going to run the bubble screens and the tunnel screens and try to just get the ball in his hand so he can make moves in the open field and beat somebody one-on-one. They seem to have that as a very interesting complement to each other as you go man-to-man through that wide receiver and tight end core.
No, that's true. You know, you look down the list, like I was saying, you know, Kadarius Toney, for instance, that's that gadget player you're talking about. He's a prime example of what Florida has been able to accomplish. Just look at what Billy Gonzalez did. Kadarius Toney has always been a talented player. There's no doubt about it. But when Dan Mullen came in, he didn't know what to do with Kadarius Toney. You know, Kadarius Toney is not a player that followed the script. So when you have a guy like Dan Mullen who really likes to have his hands on a lot of things and likes to have a little bit of control, Kadarius Toney's not a type of player that will allow you to have that control. I remember a couple of plays where, you know, this is when Felipe Franks was under center, where ended up Franks had to block for Kadarius Toney because Toney did not have the play as scripted because he went away from his blockers. He sometimes would run 40, 60 yards and only get you 5, or sometimes he would run 60, 70 yards and get you a touchdown. So he was definitely a high risk, possibly high reward type of player. But now look what Billy Gonzalez was able to do. This is a guy who has now become a more well-rounded wide receiver. This is definitely a breakout year for him. He's definitely a guy that can make something out of nothing for you. And now he's following the script. Now he's following the plays as Dan Mullen and Brian Johnson and Billy Gonzalez has kind of put together. So he's a great asset. We already mentioned Kyle Pitts. You know, we talk about him all the time. He's one of the best players in college football right now. There's no doubt about it. So he's a mismatch nightmare in the end zone. Then you got guys like Trevon, guy that can leap up. We've seen him. Those are the type of guys that, you know, Kyle Trask really is able to utilize because, you know, Kyle Trask said it best. He said, you know what, I just throw the ball in the air and allow our wide receivers to make plays because they have the physical attributes to make them. And that's what Trevon Grimes has. Justin Shorter has been a revelation for Florida. It took him a while to get him going, because obviously he came in as a transfer from Penn State in the spring, and it took a little while for him to learn the playbook, obviously with no spring and with all the COVID incidents, and it took a little while for him to get eligible from the NCAA since they kind of dragged their heels a little bit. So now he's able to, you know, come here and contribute. Florida just has way too many pass catchers that have talent and ability, and, you know, they're well-rounded. They're great blockers as well. You know, Grimes has gone and helped with the blocking game as well. You've got Jacob Copeland has improved a bit, although he has missed a couple of blocks. He has certainly improved in that area. And, you know, we mentioned tight ends. You got to give Kamori Gamble and Keon Zipper credit. When Kyle Pitts was out, Kamori Gamble and Keon Zipper really stepped up. They both had a couple of touchdowns, and Kamori Gamble was a great blocker for Florida. So I think that's what really stands out about Florida. You don't know who they're going to throw the ball to. There are often times that you have 10 or 11 guys catching the ball in a single game. And, you know, that's something that happened last year as well. So that is something that Dan Mullen has been able to build with, you know, obviously the help of Billy Gonzalez about making these guys well-rounded. And that's why when you ask me about, you know, the rushing attack, and it's why I say, like, no one's being fooled here. Florida's going to pass the ball. So you have talented rushers right now, but we have a Kyle Trask throwing the ball the way he is, and you've got capable wide receivers like they have. They're going to throw the ball, and especially, you know, against Tennessee, I say they're going to attack that secondary. So I think, you know, that is something that we're going to clearly see, and I think the Florida wide receiver is just going to be out physical Tennessee.
The Gators and the Vols featured on CBS as the SEC National Game of the Week, 3:30 Eastern Time, again on Saturday afternoon. Played as scheduled. Hopefully we're in good shape with LSU on deck the next week. And, of course, the SEC championship game for Florida football, number 6 in the latest college football rankings. But it pretty much comes down to, unless there's an upset in the making before hand that it comes down to beat Alabama, make the playoff, lose the SEC championship game, and go to another bowl game, maybe the Orange Bowl I've seen cited as one of the options. Jackie, we appreciate you stopping by as always. Again, Jackie does an amazing job, so catch her on allgators.com on SI. Jackie, have a great rest of your night.